Yeah.
you'd be okay with it.
I will say this, and unlike any other bottle, if this QR code came at me like he, hit a grand slam, I don't know if I would have opened it. I probably would have held on to it and maybe, found a sucker in 5 years.
That's right.
So.
Especially if they're only making, what'd you say, 10,000 of them?
Yeah, a little over 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
Welcome to the cave.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
We're at it again.
How's things?
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting geared up for a
Carefree summer.
It's going to end. I know it's been hot as all hell, but it's going to come to an end soon. For that matter, this weekend is like the beginning of the end for me. It's the most exciting time, but it does also signify summer.
It does. We have a bittersweet end of summer.
But we have a big event this weekend for us.
It's fantasy draft weekend.
Fantasy draft. Yeah. So I think you've been in it for 18 years, but this is our 19th year of our Dynasty Football League. It's a high stakes league, and it's very over the top.
It's a high stake league. I spend more money celebrating the beginning of the season than I actually spend in the league.
That's fair.
The dinners and the drinks and whatnot.
So that's what's nice about it is we make big events.
It's a deal. It's a big deal for us.
We draft live in person, and that's a requirement of this league.
It's good to see everybody.
It's good to see everybody once a year, and people out of state come into state just for it. We make a weekend out of it, so it's a good time. And obviously it's super competitive for me and you because we're in the same damn division.
True.
So to that I say, go fuck yourself.
Sure.
All right.
How'd you do last year?
Again, to that I say, go fuck yourself.
All right, so getting back on topic, what do you got for us tonight?
So we're going to do a little something different. Well, maybe not different, but I got something, and sometimes I get these bottles, and, they're a celebrity bottle, or they're just...
Widely hyped.
Wildly hyped. And it's like, all right, is the juice really good, or are you just selling us a load of bull?
Yep.
So I think we have one of those bottles today. This is the Remus... the Babe Ruth Reserve. Okay, so we're touting Babe Ruth. It's 3 different mash bill. We're going to get into it a little bit. But they only made 10,624 of these because that's every day he was on plate.
Okay. One time or every year? Like one time they made 10,000 bottles and that was it? Or do they make that many?
I think they're reinventing the wheel at this point because that's what the hype train does. If the hype works, we're going to come up with, batch 2 and whatnot. This is bottle 7,181. It does have this cool little QR code on the back. You can scan and you can look up what he did on that day.
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought it was pretty neat. So let me step back for a second. Sometimes these things could be, are they worth it to hold? Do you have resale value a couple years down the road?
Yeah.
Is this a Babe Ruth bottle that they stopped making and maybe there's somebody that
some collector
pays
value.
Serious coin for this, 20 years down the road? And I got to thinking, I scanned the QR code. I'm like, wow, if he had a big day that day, it could be worth something to somebody down the road. Well, interesting. He was a New York Yankee on this day, and he was playing the Boston Red Sox.
There you go.
Right? So that's a little homer value, right?
Yeah.
He was on plate 4 times. 1 hit, no home runs. So...
slow day at the office.
So we'll get into this a little bit. There's a little story or backstory of how this distillery started, who this distillery became. So to get into it a little bit, this is from MGP.
Okay.
But it's their brand.
Interesting.
So MGP, as you know, is a source for most other whiskey companies to source their whiskey and then go age it or finish it or do what they want with it or just put a new label on it. Mm-hmm. This is actually their brand. So
I have had this before, not the Babe Ruth edition, but the Remus before. I did enjoy it. It was a long time ago, so I'm intrigued to see how this turns out.
So you're a Scotch guy and I'm a Scotch guy?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a special guest a little later. He's a bourbon guy.
Well, it's good. Get different.
So I figured if we're going to do this, is this good or is this bullshit? Let's bring in a bourbon guy for that.
Sounds like a good idea.
All right?
All right. So what else you got for me? What's new to the cave?
What's new to the cave? I got a couple things new to the cave. So this one here is actually, it's quasi new to the cave. It's not my first bottle of this, but the first bottle I didn't have long enough to make it to the cave because it was
Must have been
damn good. This is the Oban. You know I'm a big fan of Oban.
Yep, me too.
This is a 15-year Oban, cask strength. And I just thought this was just, super fruit forward, extremely divine. So I needed to get another bottle. It's finished in Oro Rosso and Palo Cortado cask finish. So
Sounds delicious.
sexy looking bottle. It's a really good dram. So it's new to Kate, but it's not really new to me. I don't know if that's cheating at all, but that's one. Oh, what this is coming in at? This is coming in at 110.6 proof. So any Oban fans want something a little proofy? That's it right there. And this guy right here, you know, I'm a Bunnahabhain fan, and I'm gonna tear this up again. I know I tried to learn how to pronounce this only about a few minutes ago, but that's one thing I suck at is pronouncing things.
These are Gaelic.
It's Avon Areg, but this is a Bunnahabhain. This is a 2022 edition. In my just random shopping, found on a shelf.
Yep.
It's 50.8%, only 700 milliliters, so they're screwing us at a 50. I'm getting kind of sick of that, quite honestly. But we're going to have to get used to it here in the States, unfortunately. But I'm really looking forward to trying this one because I am a Bunnahabhain fan.
So what's special about this bottle?
That's a good question. Sometimes I just buy a bottle and throw it in the car, you know? You know, they get me on name. I got to buy that Remus off hype. I mean, they get you somehow. Well, this is an Isle of Scotch. We know that. I don't know if this is peated. So, PX Sherry.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, you're a sucker for that one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Beautifully balanced notes of milk, chocolate, raisins, raspberries, giving way to balsamic vinegar and honeyed macadamias and deep toffee finish with spicy cinnamon burst. I bet you this got a little like sparkle on the back end. I've had a couple of Bunnahabhains. There was a Bunnahabhain we had a couple of years ago that I described as spiky Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
Because it just tingled. It
Yep.
tasted like Dr. Pepper, and it was like, carbonated, and just the way that it tingled on the back. I'm curious if that has that kind of effect.
I look forward to it.
So that's what we're doing here today. We're gonna try that Remus.
Yep.
But we're gonna cut cam for a moment so we can reset and bring in our special guest, and let's see if that bottle's worth the hype or if it's just a load of garbage.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, be back in a sec. All right, so we're gonna take a closer look at this. This Remus Babe Ruth Reserve is 111 proof, 55.5% alcohol. It's a medley of 3 mash bills. So this might be tricky for you.
Okay.
Because you're not a rye guy,
Yeah.
right? Although this is a medley of bourbons. It's a straight bourbon whiskey, but
So
they're all
it's-
high rye.
It's 3 different whiskeys.
Correct. All high rye bourbons.
Yep.
So, a little backstory. Ross and Squibb Distillery, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. That's well known. They call it Whiskey City. That's where MGP is. MGP is
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Midwestern grain products. And they produce, I could be mistaken, but they might actually be the largest distillery in the country or in the world. They just produce that much whiskey. But most of their whiskey is bought by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So they buy it, they maybe blend it with other things, they may just change the label and tout it as their own. So some of that stuff that comes from MGP is kind of controversial because people kind of say it's shady marketing to whoever bought it.
Yep.
You and I, if we got enough money, we can go buy some MGP and
Put
call
it-
it
put our name on
Derek and Tom's,
Right.
bourbon, and go try and make a buck.
Okay.
And maybe we will.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Let's get on it. So this distillery started way back pre-Prohibition. And obviously in Prohibition it shut down. And this was one of the distilleries that maintained to stay open because they figured out the loopholes and how to make it medicinal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, and then that person passed away and they got bought out a couple times. And then Seagram's bought it. So Seagram's owned it for a while.
The ginger ale company?
No, the Crown Royal.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that the same Seagram's as
Probably.
Probably. It's a beverage company.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was doing a little homework and I did the Google Street View, and this place is a massive complex, and it still says Seagram's on the brick on the very top portion of the building.
Cool.
So that kind of like brought me down a wormhole. Like, what's it say Seagram's up there for? So Seagram's owned it once upon a time. Then became MGP, and it's still MGP, but they rebranded it. Oh, where is it? Ross and Squibb Distillery. So Ross and Squibb Distillery is MGP. Majority of the products is sold and used by others. This is their own.
Sure.
So this
Makes
is a product
sense.
that they make that they didn't sell to anybody else.
Yep.
This is also, as I kind of discussed earlier, kind of falls into, I wouldn't call it celebrity whiskey because this is not celebrity endorsed, but I mean, obviously they're using Babe Ruth's name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a $200 bottle. Pricey, right? So, is this really worth the special uniqueness, or is this just pricey garbage, right?
You're really selling it here, buddy.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I haven't had it. You haven't had it.
Yeah.
But we've had stuff that
Yeah.
falls in this line.
Yeah,
And
I'm intrigued.
everybody's bought something, celebrity endorsed or something like that, and because they thought it was going to be good, and it wasn't. So we're going to bring in our buddy Chris. Chris, we're Scotch guys, and he drinks Scotch too, but he's more of a bourbon guy.
Yep.
So I kind of thought maybe we'd rely on him a little bit. And we have our own opinions, but let's have
No, it's good to get it
on
out.
whether this is good. So why don't you come on in, Chris? How's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Happy
Excited to
Tuesday.
be here.
Yeah. So obviously a whiskey guy. You've been drinking whiskey for a while. In fact, I've personally been to your own little bourbon bar, whiskey cave. What do you call it?
Call it a pub.
Murray's Pub.
Yeah.
Awesome spot. We did a really great job with that. Maybe one day we'll convince you to give us the host us.
I'm open to it.
We'll see.
I guess you're a bourbon guy to me because you introduced me to E.H. Taylor, Willett, Sinatra. So those are the things that I associate with you.
And
That's a good connection.
And it is interesting that you guys call me a bourbon guy, and I would say that's 90% true. But as you mentioned, I like Scotch. I have plenty here in this cave. I also am very big fan of the Irish whiskeys. But I do have a funny story about the misconception of Scotch with bourbon people. So my best friend was down this past weekend, actually, and we were out at the liquor store buying a bottle for our friend Perry, who we know, for his party. And I saw Macallan Classic Cut.
Nice.
And I really like that. So I said, I'm gonna buy that because I have a few scotches in my bar, mostly bourbons, but a few scotches that I like to drink every so often. And he goes, yeah, I just can't get into Scotch. I'm not a Scotch guy. And I go, well, you'd be surprised. It's, especially when you want something easy for the most part. Most Scotches that I've had that I like are easy drinkers, a little bit lighter than bourbon that has a little more punch to it for me. And he goes, yeah, well, I can't get into the grassy, the earthy tones of the scotches. And I go, you'd be surprised that
There's a lot of variation.
Yeah, right. And then when I mentioned that some of the ones that I really like are the ones that are more pear and apple fruit forward type light scotches, he goes, oh, I love that. I go, so see, you'd like Scotch.
Yeah.
So at some point I'll introduce him to it, but for now he's still a bourbon guy.
We've talked a few times about what Scotch drinkers, what bourbon they prefer, and then vice versa. We've talked to Dalmore as a good bottle for a bourbon drinker to, again, it's a fruity Highlands.
That's my favorite
Scotch.
line.
Yeah. But your first whiskey was a bourbon, was it not?
My first whiskey was no,
It's probably Irish.
no, it was actually Gentleman Jack.
Oh,
That was my introduction.
Okay, so now we're going to get into debate on whether that's bourbon or not.
It's not. It's a whiskey.
But they could call it bourbon legally.
but
It's legal bourbon.
It worked myself into the bourbons, which actually, no, that's not true. First time I ever had bourbon was Woodford. And it was at Jeff's house at one of his parties. And Spencer next door brought it in. And I said, you know what? I hear a lot about bourbon. I want to have a sip of that. And that actually was my first one. But then that was just one time. And I hadn't had it for months after that. When I started consistently drinking, it was Gentleman Jack that started me on that journey.
So there's one thing that you and I have in common on that. Once we started an appreciation for whiskey, whether it was bourbon, Irish, or Scotch, once you and I both had that appreciation, we just kind of went like wildfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta have this, I gotta try that.
It's a sickness.
Yeah, it's a sickness. Yeah. So let's get a couple glasses.
All right.
Let's see what we like. Let's
get this
if
party
we
started.
like this at all. The Bambino meets the king of the bootleggers, two larger-than-life icons of the 1920s responsible for putting the roar into the roaring 20s. Have come together and once again with Remus Babe Ruth Reserve, a special collector's release inspired by the legend himself. Remus Babe Ruth Reserve plays homage to the Sultan of Swat with a medley of 3 high rye bourbons inspired by Babe's legendary number 3, along with a total of 10,624 bottles available, one for each of his plate appearances. So This game didn't tell us the plate because baseball stats were a little harder to track by then.
Sure.
But I do know that when I scanned this beautiful little QR code, that day he was with the Yankees playing the Red Sox. He had 1 hit, no home runs. And there we go. So let's crack it.
Interestingly enough, I've looked at that bottle at least 3 times and almost purchased it and had not, so I'm really excited to try it.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. You were scared off by... What were you scared off by? Let's be real.
Well, so multiple things. I think you've talked about this many times over, that celebrity-type bottles, even though he's a dead celebrity, tend to underwhelm. Mm-hmm. And at $200, I don't want to be underwhelmed.
You don't want to be that guy again.
That's right.
Yeah, you feel like you've been played before, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So haven't we? Right.
And where did you find this one?
And here we are doing it again. The liquor store right here in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think... There wasn't that many, obviously.
There was one the other day when I was in there.
Yeah.
There's still one on the shelf.
Not enough people like me. They're willing to pony up and give it a go, I guess. So, again, 3 mash bills, 12%, 44% rye, 70% is 49% rye, and 18% is 36% rye.
And we know it has to be 51% corn to be considered a bourbon.
Correct. So it is bourbon, just got a high rye content.
Mm-hmm. So
Cheers.
I expect there'll be
Cheers.
some spice.
Yes. I tend to find rye to be very spicy.
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little burny. Not all of them, but some of them, it catches in my throat.
Interesting enough, though, you really like that 100% rye for the piggyback.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And then there are ryes I've liked, but some of them definitely feel like they punch me in the throat.
Yeah. I thought you were going to hate that bottle, or I would have expected that.
I mean, this has got all the nose of a rye.
You know what I think of? Willet rye. The
Yeah.
4-year Willet rye.
Yeah.
That's what I get on the nose.
I want to say I get more cinnamon recall on the Willet rye. Getting more...
This is a little less than the Willet rye, but it has that same...
But I'm obviously still getting the classic caramel vanilla.
Some clove.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of spring flower.
What was proof? This was 111 proof? I'm not getting that on the nose.
No, not at all.
Not
I was
at
going to
all.
ask. When you said that, I thought it might be 95.
Yeah. No, I'm not getting the proof in the nose at all.
Well, we've gone through a bunch of bourbons lately. And this has got a lot of nose in comparison to most of
No
them.
question. It does.
So we did Blanton's last week, and that Blanton's had very little nose compared to this.
Yeah, coming fresh off the Blantons, then yes, I would say, other than maybe the barrel proof, but we had different opinions on the barrel proof. You got to go watch last week's video. This gives more character on the nose than the traditional blends.
And I've had 3 other Remuses, and this has the most character from a nose perspective. They were fairly vanilla. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember the one you had, but...
It was at least 10 years ago. It was really before I started
Yeah.
really getting into whiskey. So I was just getting into it, and then have a lot to compare to.
Well, a couple I've had didn't have much on the nose. This has a little bit of kick, so I expect it'll be pretty good on the palate.
We'll give it a taste.
Mm.
I'm intrigued here.
Yeah.
I did give it that Kentucky chew. It's bourbon.
Kentucky Chew.
The swish. Doesn't drink like 111. Has a little spice, like you said.
It doesn't drink like 111, and honestly, it's not that spicy compared to other ryes.
Yeah, little spice.
It's quite smooth.
Yeah.
Very refined. For me, it's definitely a ramp. So, good nose, kind of light palate, and then just a continuing ramp of flavor as you swallow.
I agree. The finish really kind of does
It just keeps going
escalate.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, as I'm sitting, I've only taken 1 sip, and I'm just letting it sit, and I'm still catching the pepper.
Yes.
A little bit of spice.
But from the nose to the palate, I think it dipped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, and my initial reaction on the palate was maybe a little thin. I don't want to say lackluster because it wasn't that, but didn't quite match the palate or the nose. Yeah, the nose rather. And then once you finish it, just kind of wanted to ramp right up.
Which is not uncommon, for at least my experience, for bourbons.
Mm.
I think they tend to, at least the ones we like, tend to have a ramp up. Bourbons, from my opinion, don't have the same complexity of palate as maybe scotches do, that have the finish and have other things that help enhance the palate.
So for me, I've always actually preferred in the bourbon a higher rye content in the bourbon. I do like ryes, but they do obviously high cinnamon. You know, they can be a little punchy at times. But even a traditional bourbon with not a lot of rye in it, that can be punchy on the corn side. And obviously, as you can relate, I mean, a lot of bourbon drinkers, you want your hazmat. You tend to like it coming full proof.
Yeah, and this one doesn't drink full proof, but I tell you what, the finish sits forever, and it sits up front. It doesn't go. It's not in the back. It's all up on the front, and it sits. It's still lingering right now in my mouth. I would tell you what though, if I did this blind, I would know it was a rye right away.
Oh yeah. Like I love packets of rye.
Yeah. But by definition, it'd be wrong.
Well, it had rye.
High rye content.
Lots of rye in it.
Yeah. I think rye is a
little bit
a little bit of rye goes a long ways.
I agree, and I do feel like this is giving me more rye than it is bourbon.
Yeah, if you said,
corn.
"What do you think? Is it a rye or is it a bourbon?" I would say, "Oh, you probably gave me a rye."
I probably would have relied on that initial nose, and that initial nose kind of was a little rye. But I get tripped up by that when I'm doing blind sometimes on a high rye content bourbon because I want to say rye.
I would go with the statistics and probably still go with high rye content bourbon because there's so few 100% ryes.
Sure, yeah, but there's plenty of ryes that.
You got a couple straight ryes in your bar in the back there.
That's true. We do have some on hand. He discovered the stash of E.H. Taylor straight ryes.
The vault.
Yeah, the vault. Sure. Yeah. All the whiskey in this room is not all the whiskey in this house, unfortunately, or fortunately.
And I always notice the E.H. Taylors, especially when you got extra ones.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, we're going to get into scoring it for a moment, but I'm going to say that we can talk a little bit whether it's worth the money or not, but we're not complaining about it.
No, I like it. I don't know if I'd pay the $200 though.
Yeah.
I think it's, if you said this was a $100 bottle or a $90 bottle, I'd be like, every day I'd pick that up.
Yeah.
When you go to that 200 range though, you got to be special. And this is good, but it's not special. When you think special, you think of the Willett 8-year bourbons. Even the Jack Daniels, I think, is a special bottle. It's different. This is just a really good high rye bourbon.
But it's put together well. Like you say, it's
But
really
yeah,
good.
it's good.
I mean, it's polished front to back. There's nothing coarse about it. It flows very well.
It's refined. It's very well made.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know that it's been $200. I probably wouldn't spend $200 for almost any American whiskey. So that for me, that's probably a line in the sand anyway. But I think at 125, okay, that's probably about where it needs to be.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable with that.
You want to start us off with a?
Sure. I'm like an 8.2 on the nose. An 8 on the palate. 8.4 on the finish. Which for me is a pretty good score.
It is a good score.
It's a pretty good score.
Yeah.
So this is where you're going to have to educate me on the scores again, because I think what you just registered, from what I remember in our historic conversations, that's a high number.
It is a high number for him.
It's a pretty good number.
I mean, a high number in general, though. I remember when we were doing some reviews, there were like 6.5s and 7s were pretty good.
So I would say
you don't like it if it's a 6.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a 7. It's got some. It's probably a weak point. If it's in the 8s, it's good.
It's good, but you're not really raving about it.
You're not raving about it. If you're getting in the 9s, no, this is top 10, and it's maybe or this is. I would buy it. I would definitely recommend it.
Okay. I would put it on lines with, say, wine ratings or cigar ratings, where they'll rate 91 out of 100 or 88 out of 100.
Okay.
We just put a decimal point in the middle.
Okay.
But other than that, not rocket science. So what'd you do again? Can you recap me for me?
8.2, 8.4, I think.
So nose and palate.
I got it on.
Yeah.
I think I would go reverse of that. 8.4 on the nose. I like the nose better than I like the palate. Palate was good, but
I went down. I went 8.2 on the nose, 8 on the palate, 8.4 on the finish.
Gotcha. Okay, so yes,
kind of went a little.
I would say 8.4 on the nose. I'm good with you on the palate. 8, and I'd probably say an 8.5 or 6 on the finish, just because it stayed forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lingering does offer its
and I like the punch on it, and sometimes you just want that burn.
Yeah,
especially if you're having a bad day.
Again, definitely not. I mean, it's present, but it's not burning for a 111.
No,
it is leaving a very, very nice,
comfortable burn.
Comfortable, lingering note.
A little warmth.
Little warmth. Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, I'm gonna go 8.2 on the nose. The palate does dip a little bit. Not much. 8.1 on the palate, but I'm going to give it an 8.6 on the finish, primarily because it finishes really well. It lingers, and I give a lot of credit to something that I don't have to feel like I have to go back and replace my taste buds. So,
I mean, I think most people who bought this bottle would be happy.
I would think so.
You know,
yeah.
maybe they don't feel like the most value out of it, but they'd be happy.
I would say I had bigger misses on the $200 mark. It's not the worst hit in that regard.
Well, I think they'd be happy because it's kind of a cool bottle.
It's a
Babe
cool
Ruth,
bottle.
And then you spent $200, you might be unhappy with that. But because it's good enough, you'd be okay with it.
I will say this, and unlike any other bottle, if this QR code came at me like he, hit a grand slam, I don't know if I would have opened it. I probably would have held on to it and maybe, found a sucker in 5 years.
That's right.
So.
Especially if they're only making, what'd you say, 10,000 of them?
Yeah, a little over 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
I like the bottle.
At least until they reinvent the,
reason to do another 10,000.
Another one, yeah.
From pure design standpoint, I like the bottle.
It's a cool bottle.
But most of them are round, so I like kind of square bottle.
Yeah. So not bad. It was actually, I'm going to be honest, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
You weren't really talking enough to begin with, so.
I have an immediate, I don't want to say, prejudgment.
Sure.
For celebrity whiskeys or stuff that I feel is just marketed to be hyped. I immediately go into it like I've seen this movie before.
And that helped. We set low expectations going in.
And you're probably right. You're right.
That's important
I set the bar so low that,
you only go up.
Mildly surprised.
Maybe it's only a 7-8, but I just mind punch you all. So, well, that's cool. This was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing.
Appreciate you coming by, man.
Yeah, now I don't have to waste the $200.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Saved you a shit ton. You get an ounce and a half out of it. It's
Appreciate
good.
you.
So
is there a bottle you would recommend us to promote or try?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I recently picked up, and I haven't tried it yet, which might be something that I could bring here because I don't think you have it. The Rock Hill Farms.
I don't.
Yeah, that might be an interesting bottle for us
Yes.
to try. I've had a glass, and from what I remember, it was a good pour. I just picked up a couple of Elmer T. Lee's, and it's a nice bottle, but it's not worth the $80 they're charging now because it used to be $35.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. They jumped pretty big.
But again, my go-tos are always my go-to, the E.H. Taylor line. So anything E.H. Taylor.
And honestly, that's one we probably need to do.
Yeah.
The whole line actually would be interesting.
We'll be hammered by the time we're done with it.
Just do it all at once.
Light pours.
Light pours. Yeah, we don't know what a light pour is in this building.
Start with the barrel proof. Work your way down.
Yeah, sure.
Don't climb the ladder.
Yeah. Light pour is 2 ounces, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So this is fun. I'm Tom.
I'm Derek.
That's Derek.
And I'm Chris.
Thanks for coming by,
for
man.
coming.
Appreciate you.
Pretty cool.
Good stuff.
Love it. Be good. Is this Redbreast Kentucky Oak?
It is. That's my least favorite of the Redbreast.
This is a great bottle.
That's my least favorite.
Oh, this